Welcome to Meet the Artist. This program is brought to you by Hedberg Public Library and JATV Media Services. I'm your host, Teresa Nguyen. Meet the Artist features various local artists whose work will be on display in monthly exhibits at Hedberg Public Library. In the studio today, we have the very talented Kim Hoholek, also my friend, our featured artist for the month of November. Welcome to the studio, Kim.
Thank you.
So glad you're here. So we're going to talk about your life as a photographer, your experiences, and some things that you brought in. I'm very excited about this. So when you were younger, kind of how did this all start with photography? Who was your encourager?
Well, I was always interested in photography. I have a little bit of a funny story with that. I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and I broke into my brother's bedroom and grabbed their Polaroid camera and just snapped away. Thought I was a fabulous photographer, but my brothers weren't too happy about that because, you know, the expense of Polaroid film back then. I got more inspired in grade school going into the library, and I always liked magazines with beautiful, colorful photos, and National Geographic was my favorite to look at with the landscapes when they were just phenomenal. And I just kept taking that interest in picking up cameras when I can, taking photos, and then probably early 90s, my parents were encouraging more, especially my dad gifted me my first professional camera, which was Canon. So I was stuck with the Canon brand ever since.
Oh, I love that story. He put that bug in you and believed in you.
Yes.
Which is huge. I mean, that kind of support is really important, especially from family. So aside from your little Polaroid, was there an early photo that someone or you were like, wow, I guess I might have, is there one that stands out in your mind?
So I've always been messing around taking portrait photos when I was younger, and my brother had this horse that he called Budweiser, and he wanted me to come out and photograph him. And so we were out in the middle of a snowstorm, and my brother is riding his horse and he's doing his roping, and I captured him just as the sun was kind of coming out a little bit, and you could see the snowflakes coming down as he's doing his roping scene. And he showed that photo to someone who was in the area that wanted to meet me immediately, and I went to go and meet him, and it ended up being someone that was a freelance photographer at National Geographic. And so he took me under his wing for a little bit to train me.
That is a cool story. That's fascinating and something you can really brag about. I mean, that's pretty cool. So were there any classes or study going on?
Yeah, I tried a little bit of homeschooling from New York Institute of Photography for a little while. I didn't finish the course, but I did the majority of it. And again, my parents were there helping me, influencing me, and, you know, with special projects. In fact, it's a funny story. My dad brought up the other day about, do you remember when you were doing that photography school and we had to find a photo for you to do on leading lines? And I'm like, yes. You know, so they still remember that as well.
Cool. Very cool. So as far as inspiration or just admiration for another photographer out there, either famous or local, or are there any?
Ansel Adams. Loved the black and white sceneries that he did, and I was able to see my first Ansel Adams exhibit down in Illinois last year, and that was just great to like see the work of someone who inspires you.
Right, right. And I recall us talking once about your mom was kind of crafty. And do you like to dabble in other kinds of art, or is it mainly
more
photography?
Crafting if I do have the time for it, yeah.
Yeah. Do you like to combine photography and craft, or not so much?
Not so much.
Yeah, okay. I love what you brought in. I should say that this month's exhibit is going to be focused on the native cultures of Wisconsin. And so talk about the exhibit theme a little bit, and then we'll talk about the stuff that you brought in here.
So the theme is called We Are Still Here. It's featured on the Native American powwow. It will be an educational exhibit to kind of promote awareness to everyone that how the culture was almost wiped out at one time and it was considered illegal. So I would like to kind of show the public a little bit, you know, how important this is for the culture to have this, to have the opportunity to show everybody a powwow.
Right. And these powwows are ongoing, seasonal, going around the lunar calendar, or is there a special native calendar when they occur?
I'm not really quite sure on that. I just know that seasonally it's more in the summertime that they start their powwow circuits.
All right, and tell us about your visits and where these were taken. Let's go with this one here, and how you were inspired to capture that. It's beautiful.
Basically, there's a lot of activity that goes on in a powwow, and all of these photos that I brought today and for my exhibit is featured on the Lac du Flambeau Reservation. And so they have the bowl where they do powwows, and they also do once a year the Bear River powwow, which is like outside of Lac du Flambeau. So it's basically, I just keep watching the dancers and all their movement and just try to capture what I can. When I captured the photo that is next to you there, that is of Walter. And the sunlight just kind of hit it just right, and I just captured it. And then when I got it into Lightroom to post-process it, I was just amazed what the results were after I got that processed.
Yeah, I love that. And down here you feature a couple of Native women. Is there a story behind that one?
Yeah, so both of the ladies are wearing a jingle dress, and a jingle dress is known as a healing element. And I will go more in detail in the exhibit what the jingle dress represents for the Native culture. But I call this photo here, I Got a Secret.
I love it. I love that title. And then here is an elder with some children dancing. I love how you capture emotion. You have a way of capturing a moment of interaction between people. And I don't think that's easy to do because a lot of people ask for poses or they just happen to be there and capture something. But you have a gift. So tell us about that one.
So this photo here is called Intertribal. At a powwow, there's usually around 2 to 3 intertribals where they invite the audience to come in and dance with the powwow dancers. And I happened to capture this moment where a little girl walked up to Walter, who was also in the other photo, and he just kind of reached out to her, and it was definitely a special moment. And it's one of my favorite photos that I captured.
Very cool. It's so beautiful, it's so emotional, and it's kind of a reflection of history with the intergenerational communication there too. So Kim, with the Native display, I would assume that you're also working with local Natives on the information or the artifacts and things like that?
Yeah, so last year I also did an exhibit on the Wisconsin Native American, and I covered several different subjects of the Native American, and Billy Bob Grawn helped me with that exhibit. This year I've been communicating with a gentleman by the name of Skip Tordors, and he has a lot of knowledge with powwows because he used to dance in the powwow circuit, and he does singing and all that. He has been helping me go through the photos, pick which is appropriate, what's the best order to put it in, as well as the educational part. He is providing me with a lot of information that will be going into the exhibit.
That's fantastic. It's really, really great because it's bringing out an authenticity for the culture. That's important. And I know that you are also a lover of nature, and much of your photography, aside from doing work with the Janesville Convention and Visitors Bureau and all sorts of local events, you like to photograph our beautiful Wisconsin nature. And has there been a really unusual place where you've, like, what's the most crazy place you've taken a picture?
Wow. I don't know. I guess I never really look at anything really crazy because when I'm out there photographing, I have a tendency just to find beauty in anything. I like to do unusual and unique photography, especially around Halloween time. I like to capture costumes or people's displays that they have, and then I would like to do my little spin to it to kind of bring a little bit more of a creepier effect out of it.
Yeah, yeah, that's fun. So, a silly question, do you have a favorite food to photograph?
No, all food is good to photograph, unless it looks horrible on the plate.
Right.
Then I let it go.
Presentation.
Yes, presentation.
So, to anyone out there who's aspiring to be a photographer, who maybe doesn't quite believe in their skill or isn't sure what to do you have some advice for them?
Anything that has a camera on it is a tool to use, whether it's your cell phone or if you have a point and shoot or those disposables. Just use it and start getting used to composition. To get to the point where I've got it, I had to photograph a lot of things, so I would recommend go out and photograph again and again and again until you find your groove of where you feel this is your niche for photography.
I love that. I love that. Now, past exhibits, you have done a variety of kind of exhibiting?
So my first exhibit was last year here at Hedberg, and it was featured the Native American. And then I was able to refeature that exhibit at several other events as well.
Nice. And your work is also featured in various brochures.
Brochures, billboards, magazines.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. You just recently were in a statewide magazine.
I was in Our Wisconsin magazine. I got a featured photo placed in there after some time of submitting a few photographs. So it's one of those, just keep try again. And then I'm also featured in the 2024 calendar of Discovered Wisconsin. I'll be in the month of April.
Month of April. That's so exciting. So yeah, I like that advice. Try again. You know that, and I feel like with any art, that's important to do. And how did you choose which photos to use for this exhibit? Was that a challenge?
It can be a challenge because you want to make sure that everything is appropriate and not offensive to anyone. Hence why I brought in Native American elders to kind of review it to make sure it looks good to them, that it's good enough to present for an educational piece.
Very nice. That's important. Yeah. Are you excited for this?
Of course.
Yeah,
I'm excited to educate the public.
That's great. Well, we appreciate you doing that and bringing awareness and education and a piece of ongoing history to the public with We Are Still Here.
Yep.
Your exhibit in November. Thank you for coming in today and allowing our viewers to get a sneak peek of the person behind this brilliant photography. We invite the public to visit the library this month to check out Kim's display. And if you'd like to learn more about Kim Hoholek's beautiful photography, you can find her information displayed on your screen. Thank you all for joining me today. Please check out this program on JATV Media Services, Charter Cable Channel 994. You can also find it on JATV's YouTube channel. Remember, don't wait for another day. Go out and make some wild, whimsical, wonderful art. I'm your host, Teresa Nguyen. I'll see you next time on Meet the Artist.